Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Humans Will Breed with Anything, written by TRMerc. Hisakak walked down the street with what was, to his people, a big smile on his face. Living on a human world wasn't easy for a reptilian alien, but he managed to make things work out pretty well. One of those things that helped was meeting a fellow alien on this world of small pink soft creatures, an arachnoid who, like Hisaka, found herself at home on this world that was vastly different from either of their home worlds. Relia was sipping on her coffee when she noticed Hisakak coming and couldn't help but give her own people's version of a smile. "Looks like someone's in a good mood. Haven't seen you in 2 weeks. Where have you been?" Hisakak sat down, ordering as usual an espresso with the shuriken. He found the blonde from his homeworld gave the espresso a naturally sweet flavor compared to the human sugar. Hisakak let his friend stew in anticipation for a little before answering. "Well, you know that I've been dating Shana for a while now, and on a trip, we decided to elope. In human culture, that is where a couple gets married." Relia interrupted. "I know what elope means, and I'm quite familiar with the human marriage customs. As you know, I'm already married to one. How could you not tell me until now?" The arachnoid looked visibly upset, and anyone who wasn't familiar with their body language could easily have assumed that she was about to bite Hisakak's head off, and she was about to, metaphorically. Hisakak, I would have. I was so caught up in things that time got away from us." He took a sip of his drink with a smirk. Relia's 12 eyes went wide before a few narrowed in confusion. Her large chitin body moved as if unsure how to proceed, and her calicery kept opening and closing as she was about to speak. "What is it?" Hisakak said, to draw the words out of his arachnid friend. Finally, the words got her to speak what she was struggling with. "I thought you were against having young." The statement made Hisakak spit his drink out and start choking, causing quite a disturbance as he fought to gain his composure. The statement wasn't one that he was expecting, and was finally about to get a word out. "What?" "Well, I am assuming by busy you lost track of time with you and your wife, doing the deed?" Getting a nod from the now blushing reptilian. "I guess you were just using protection then?" Hisakak's eyes went wide. "Why would I need protection? Shana couldn't hurt me, and we were in a very safe resort. I haven't felt in danger since I came to this world. One of the reasons I decided to leave my people's empire was that I was tired of the hostility and fighting. Also, I haven't let my wife know about my feelings towards Young, as we don't have to worry about such things." The naive and innocent thought brought some happiness to Relia, as a friend reminded her of her husband when they first were dating. "Oh, my dear Hisakak, you don't know. Humans breed with anything." She took another sip of her coffee, as Hisakak looked at her confused, with a straight face, and just slowly nodded in agreement, but clearly not understanding her statement. "I'm not saying they attempt to. I'm saying they do." Hisakak took a moment to process what was just said, and his eyes widened. You can't be serious. I mean, I'm a reptilian. She's a mammal. Two completely..." He was interrupted by a shake of Ryla's head, saying that he was wrong. "I mean, you and Frank adopted your..." And again, he was interrupted by a shake of Relia's head. "You mean, your kids are..." Getting a nod. Relia put her drink down slowly and took Hisakak's hand. "I don't think it was possible at first either, but I've come to find that humans are, more capable than I thought at first. I mean, it wasn't the first time, but when it did happen, I did a little research and, I shouldn't have been surprised as I was." The reptilian's jaw moved up and down without words coming out, almost looking like he was a speaking animatronic more than a living, breathing thing. That is, I mean, how?" Relia shrugged with all 3 of her legs. For her people, 1 set of shrugging meant they didn't know, but had an idea. 2 shrugging meant they didn't know, didn't have an idea, but might know someone who does. And all 3 meant that she didn't think anything in this universe had a clue about it. "You know the Avarians, the so-called angry race?" Hisakak nods. "Yes, they are human-looking with feathery wings and patches of scales on their... No, they couldn't. There are billions of them." Relia nods. Yes, apparently. Their whole race was born out of a world that humans and Calvarians settled in the same time. Sure, there was fighting at first, but after a few centuries of peace, well, a few centuries later and... She made a poof motion that humans often did with their forelegs. Relia sat there. If humans could breed with the avian race. Cheryl. She was cut off again with a hand. You know the silicon-based race, the Zermondans, Isakak nods. Well, apparently the scientists who was working with them grew close, and both being researchers wanted to find out if coupling was even possible. They said 9 months after finding an enjoyable method for both. Relia laughs. Oh, now you're pulling my leg. This is a human phrase that he learned until Relia pulled up articles and research paper on the subject on a datapad and showed him. That isn't... the Zermondans don't even have reproductive parts. They just... While he was bewildered, Relia decided to add some more confusion. I'm also sure you're aware of the Hubrians, the cybernetic race of humans. Isakak's face made it clear that he wasn't ready for it. Apparently, a human and a dwarf Silac had developed a connection, and when he taught the dwarf Silac about human reproduction, a bit of his DNA got inside the mechanical body, and the nanites inside started to replicate it based on the DNA information inside his... Relia coughed a little. Anyway, adding some cybernetic components when there was incomplete data. I'm not entirely sure how it works myself, but suffice to say, their example started a craze with humans finding partners amongst the mechanical races that led to birth of another entirely new species. I believe that brought it up to 30 hybrid species, taking a sip on her drink as she contemplated the numbers. There was silence for a while before Isakak was able to look up from the datapad. He saw a look that sent a chill down his spine. Slowly, Relia turned in the direction Relia was looking in, but what Isakak saw put a smile on his face. Shana was approaching them. Her smile brought warmth to his heart, though she seemed to be pointing to something small in her hand as she approached. Something that looked like a small stick. Then his smile quickly faded as he heard from behind him, Don't worry, Frank and I saved some of the essentials from before our little ones could take care of themselves. Story number 2. Internet Expedition, written by Vaz_. Good afternoon, blobbies and gentle blobs. Thank you for all coming. My name is Dr. Clement Blab, Director of the Galactic Anthropological Society, as some of you may already know. We have just recently received information that the government has granted us funding for the long-awaited expedition to none other than planet 24520-Magad. Rejoice! Conference hall explodes into elated applause and then quickly goes silent as the director continues. We have long known of this isolated species, which is still considered too primitive to be introduced to the larger galactic society. But recent discoveries indicate that we might have been in the wrong. Dr. Halmerman and his team made an absolutely mind-blowing discovery when they found out that these primitives have, in fact, a staggeringly vast information repository. It is highly likely that this is just one amongst many. These information repositories are called internets. According to our extensive scans of the network, this one appears to mainly be a very large, dedicated library of documented acts of copulation, which they seem to have studied strenuously throughout the decades. We expect similarly comprehensive information repositories to be found for various subjects and fields of science. If they have indeed such repositories on the scale for something like physics, then I am fully convinced their technologies and society are far more advanced than it may seem. It is possible their theoretical understanding of the cosmos far exceeds their engineering capabilities, which limits their ability to apply advanced technologies into practice. We have organized an expedition team to leave for Earth, as the inhabitants of 34520-Magad call it, and in order to help them blend into the natural environment of Earth, we have used an advanced AI to generate them human identities based on the contents of the information repository we found so far. Please welcome to the stage the members of the expedition. Dick Peter's Enlargement, Sally Large Boobs, Hot Milf Gangbang, and Dave. 3 Blurgmobobs and a Splock walk onto the stage, and the crowd goes wild. Before we continue with our ceremony, I would also like to announce that on this expedition, we will also be deploying some of the greatest AI technologies and simulated organics in the galaxy to help us map out human social interactions and help us further study these, internets. Blobbies and gentle blobs, please give a warm welcome on stage to the most advanced robot in the galaxy today, Zuckerberg Mark 2.0. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.